It's not a tool to negotiate price. It's not something to beat the seller up over. It's for the buyer to know what condition the home is in when they're under contract.
So if we have a new construction house and we have a 30-year-old house, should our expectations be the same as what to expect from an inspection report?
I would say yeah, because it's going to give you the condition of the house. Now, as far as the items that are listed in the home, uh, then yeah, you likely are not going to have the same items, but you still have the same expectation from the report.
Welcome to the RE Real Estate Podcast, where we discuss buying and selling real estate in black and white. Here are your hosts, Ben Harang and Clint Galliano.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ben Harang with Keller Williams Realty Value Partners. With me is
Clint C. Galliano, realtor with Keller Williams Realty Value Partners.
Good one, good one. We're here in Home of the Day. Topic for discussion will be inspections on a home purchase. Clint and I were just talking about the importance of the inspections and the timelines and how to go about doing it, and kind of having realistic expectations on what the report may or may not indicate about the house. So we'll let Clint go ahead and start off.
All right. So typically when you're using inspection is when you're working with buyers. So buyers are the ones that are probably most interested in an inspection, even though sellers can use them to get an idea of things that they might want to fix when they're getting ready to put their property for sale. But it's typically your buyers that get an inspection done once they get a property under contract. The main purpose of a home inspection is so that the buyer knows the condition of the home or what condition the home is in that they're purchasing, so that they know whether they have some deferred maintenance that they may need to attend to at some point, or if there are any deficiencies or any repairs that need to be made, or if there's any type of hazard in the home that they need to get fixed prior to closing on the home. In other words, asking the seller to fix the home. And those are the main reasons for a home inspection as a buyer. It's not a tool to negotiate price. It's not something to beat the seller up over. It's for the buyer to know what condition the home is in when they're under contract.
So if we have a new construction house and we have a 30-year-old house, should our expectations be the same as what to expect from an inspection report?
I would say yeah, because it's going to give you the condition of the house. Now, as far as the items that are listed in the home, then yeah, you likely are not going to have the same items, but you still have the same expectation from the report. A 30-year-old home, you're going to have, what you expect the condition of a 30-year-old home to be, and it's going to report on that. A new construction home, they're likely to point out anything that was not done correctly, or maybe items that were installed or damaged, things like that. And those are things that when you're looking at a new construction home, you want those to be repaired, fixed, cleaned up prior to closing on that home. And whereas a 30-year home, you may want to look more at, is this something that will affect the appraisal, or is it something that I can take care of at a later date?
And when I said should we have the same expectations, what I was getting at is on a new construction, the age of the air conditioner, water heater, the roof, the the expectation is all that is new. On a 30-year-old house, you might have a 20-year-old roof, a 15-year-old air condition, a 10-year-old water heater, um,
Or a 15-year-old and 8-year-old air conditioning.
mix and matched inside. So my point is, if you're gonna be buying a 30-year-old house, don't have the expectation that the report will show it's a new house. Things like GFCI receptacles within 6 feet of a water source may or may not be in the house. That's easy enough to address. Not having grounded receptacles, and how to deal with that from a safety standpoint. The idea about rewiring a house is not realistic, because when that house was built, it was built to code, and that's how it was done. Well, now we have additional safety features with the GFCI. So without the ground wire, you can put in a GFCI, and if there's a problem with the outlet, the GFCI receptacle will trip, without rewiring the house, and you have the same safety features. So there's the expectation of a 30-year-old house would be different than the expectation on a new construction. What about timelines? We write a purchase agreement, and we have X number of days to complete the inspections, to decide if we're going to proceed or not with the sale. Kind of talk about the importance of the timelines.
So by default, well, first off, I'll say it depends on the buyer and what the buyer's goals are. I tend to write a 14-day due diligence and inspection period. That gives us time, if we do find anything that warrants further investigation, we have time to bring out the appropriate professional, whether it's HVAC, electrical, or plumbing, or even foundation, to get that inspected and still be within that inspection and due diligence timeline. If the buyer, and that's for an occupant, a buyer that's going to buy to occupy the home. If it's a buyer that's an investor, they're a little more sophisticated. They know what they're looking at. They may use the due diligence and inspection period as a negotiation tactic to be able to say, hey, look, give me 5 days for inspections and I'm good. And so with the thinking that if a seller is looking at a similar offer, one wants 14, 15 days to inspect the property, and the other one wants 5 days or 0 days to inspect the property, and close within 30 versus close within 45, they feel that that's more of a better negotiation tactic.
So let's talk about as is. People want to sell their house as is. They buy it as is. I tell people, you're going to sell your house as of the date of the sale. They're not buying the house as it is right now, unless they agree to it. And that's what the inspections are for, to make sure that they, going into what could be the largest sale of their life, purchase of their life, that they know what they're getting. I tell people I want both the buyer and the seller to be comfortable with what they're selling, what they're buying, and the condition of the house that the house is in. So if we in the grocery store and you run into somebody, you don't need to turn around and walk out because you're concerned about what they're going to say. There's nobody that I need to walk out of a grocery store to avoid because a deal went south. I've been doing it for 30 plus years, and I can still talk to everybody I've ever done business with. So we have to get to the point of the sale to have the as is clause included in the sale. The inspection period gets us to that point to give the buyer a comfort level with the property.
So I've got a slightly different take, but it's generally along the same vein. As is as is, where is. And typically you'll see that stated in the act of sale. And it basically means that there's no warranty given by the seller to the buyer. That as long as they've gone through their processes, their inspection, their due diligence, that once the paperwork is signed and ownership is transferred, the seller is not liable for anything that goes on with the property past the point of sale. And it's kind of funny because sellers get tripped up on it. They think, well, it's as is, and that, we're not going to do any repairs, we're not going to do any improvements. And that's not necessarily what that means.
It's not as is as of the date of the purchase agreement, it's as is as of the date of the sale.
Correct.
So I guess we beat that one up enough for this podcast, Clint. Our goal is to take a topic and do a deep dive into each topic on a regular basis. So we're just getting started, but there's a lot more to come. Hopefully you enjoy it. And we'll see you next time. This is Ben Harang with Keller Williams Realty, by your partners in Houma Thibodeau and
Clint Galliano, Realtor, Keller Williams Realty, by your partners, Houma Thibodeau, down to buy wherever you need help.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Thanks.
While we may discuss topics such as lending, interest rates, title law, real estate law, and appraisals in addition to real estate sales and transactions, please remember that we are only trained and licensed as real estate salespeople in Louisiana. The information shared on this podcast is for general purposes only and should not be taken as legal or financial advice. We may be agents, but unless we have signed paperwork stating otherwise, we are not your agents.